Hey guys, how you doing? This is Benjamin with Benjamin's Exotics, and in this video, we're going to be talking about heat pads versus heat lamps for ball pythons. Now, this is a issue that most people are one way or the other. Okay, most people don't just say you can use heat mats or heat lamps, either one works. And normally it's that people who keep vivariums or terrariums, meaning tanks and stuff like that, are going to be the ones arguing for lights, because it's one of the most common and easiest ones to use with those. And people using tubs are most likely going to argue for this, or something like this. Heat tape, heat mat, things like that. And I'll just really quickly put my thoughts out there for both of these. Now, just so you guys do know, I have had a decent amount of experience with using both of these, but I will be upgrading to and getting some racks, because while I think tanks can work, I'll just really quickly show you guys. Tanks can work, but you really have to supplement a lot more than I would like to. With tanks, I don't like to have ball pythons that are shy, which is this one, or this is one of them. I don't like them being able to see out because they don't eat as good, so I cover it with paper. It's just extra work. When we're talking about tanks, they don't hold humidity very well, so I have to use a solid top lid, and I have to, make sure the air is fresh, so I ventilate it every day for about a few minutes. Not a lot of work, but I'd much rather have a tub. It's much easier. So I will be hopefully getting some rack systems soon, so I'll have more experience with heating in tubs. I keep snakes, and I have kept snakes in tubs for many years, but never in a rack system. So I will be getting a rack system soon, hopefully. I always say soon, and it takes a lot longer normally, but as I have said, hey, I did keep my promise about the new animals. I already got a new ball python and a new boa constrictor. But anyway, without rambling on too much, let's look at our first option. And probably the most common if you're keeping a pet. Actually, no, probably I'm going to say is the most common if you're keeping it in a tank as a pet. Is going to be our lights. Now, okay, here we go. I'm hoping nobody slams this video in the comments for what I'm going to say about lights and these guys. I say both can work. There is one that I would say works. I'm going to kind of nonchalantly move the camera over here. One that works better than the other in most cases. But let's talk about lights first. So when we're looking at lights, this is to a certain extent a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit more natural, okay, because really it isn't. But basically there's two different ways we're heating it. From the heat pad, we're heating the air, and we're heating the bottom of the tub going this way. With the light, we're going this way. When we're looking at lights normally don't create as much humidity. From what I've seen, if we're talking about the same exact environment, same tank, same everything, lights don't create as much humidity. I think it's maybe because it evaporates it faster or something to that effect. So in terms of generating humidity, lights normally don't do it as good as heat pads. That's a benefit and also a negative. When we're looking at the way accidents happen, I would say that most of the time, most of the accidents when we're talking about burning normally happens with these guys because somebody doesn't have a probe set right. With your lights, unless you're keeping a very hot light bulb in a cage, anything probably above 25 watts, like in a tank exposed, not like with a screen, which is how most people keep them, you're basically never going to have any problems with burns. So in that case, light bulbs would win. And here's the basics. Both these can work, but in most cases, this guy's going to be the definitive winner. And I was going to go through and analyze both of them, but I'll just say this right here. Lights do work. I use lights most of the time. I am thinking about, and I'm really considering switching about 50% of all my animals that I keep over to stuff like this. I keep leopard geckos like that, using this kind of heating in a tub. Tubs work fine. The only difference between tubs and tanks is that tanks look prettier. They're, you can see the animal better, and they don't keep humidity as well. That's literally the only benefits to to tanks. People that argue that you shouldn't keep snakes in tubs is ridiculous for many reasons, because basically they're so close to tanks. It's insane to say that it's bad to keep them in there. But I get what some people were saying. They want to have their animals on display. That's fine. I keep basically all my snakes. Basically, there's a few, but I keep basically all my snakes in tanks with lights. So I'm not gonna bash these because I use them and I've had pretty good success with them. But I will be changing to these soon, just because really these are so close. But the real main reason is space. I would much rather, when I'm keeping 20, 30, 40 ball pythons, have them all on this one thermostat than having a bunch of light bulbs you have to check every day, make sure nothing's burnt out. And with racks you can stack. Now, in terms of equipment, I'd probably say that your lights are going to win, because your lights it's just plug and play. You need a fixture of some sort, and you need a light bulb, and that's it. Take your fixture, take your ceramic heater, which this is way too hot. Never use this in a tank that is not high, or your, just, I only use these because they're cheap. I don't actually believe that these, don't affect the animals at night. But very simple with that. With these guys, you cannot. I've done it, and I did it for a while, but I regret doing it, not because any animals got burnt, but because it was really me being lucky. I've measured this heat tape right here. This heat tape gets to about 130 degrees. 130 degrees if it's not regulated. I have other heat pads that only get to 86 to 90, but I don't want my animals getting burnt. So when we're looking at this, and this is a must, for me at least, speaking to you guys, you need to have a thermostat, even if it's just a nice one. Or, when I say, what I mean is, you don't have to go out and spend a few $100 on a thermostat. Get a Zilla or Zoom Ed thermostat. It's going to be pretty accurate. It might be a little bit off, but it's going to be much better than having it, just running wildly. You're not controlling it. And another thing you need to have is something like this, which is just your average, and it's still got to adjust. Yeah, there we go. Your thermometer, digital thermometer, because you need to be able to also check this. Don't trust what that says. You need to adjust that to this, not this to that. You need to make sure that this, get an accurate one of course, but you need to make sure that this is at the right temperature, not the gauge set on there, because the gauge set on there, on most of them, is pretty far off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Basic thing for anybody getting into the argument. Lights can work, so can heat pads. Heat pads might help a smallest bit, might be a smallest bit more natural in terms of lighting, but both of them are heating the air around your snake. Both of them, this one's providing a basking spot where they can sit down and absorb it. This one's is just providing that spot the lights make. So they're very close. If anybody ever tells you you can't use one or the other, I'll just say they're full of crap. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, both of these can work. In most cases, I would advise this one over this one, just simply because this allows you to have more controllability, and there's a few other benefits. But as I've said already 3 times, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.